Previously on
Okami.
The game begins with a lengthy prologue in which we are told of an ancient legend in which an evil 8-headed serpent named Orochi is valiantly defeated by a legendary hero named Nagi and a mysterious white wolf named Shirinui. The wolf dies in battle and is enshrined somewhere in Kamiki village where much of the action allegedly took place. Nagi is similarly honoured. Skip forward 100 years and some idiot whose identity is still unknown pulls out the sacred sword Tsukuyomi from the shrine of Nagi, which, guess what, was the seal for Orochi, and this strange person's actions release the beast onto the world, which in this game consists solely of Japan, here named Nippon as the locals call it. The world is then covered in darkness. Everyone is powerless to stop it, but one wood sprite, Sakuya, manages to awaken the spirit of the sun goddess Amaterasu, henceforth abbreviated to Ami, who is reborn via the statue of Shirinui, and this is our introduction to our character. We're also introduced to Ison, a wandering artist, who becomes this game's Navi from here on out. Sakuya then tells us to free the village from a giant fruit that she sealed in before disappearing. We discover we currently do not have the power to cut it down, but wandering into the tree somehow leads to the river of the heavens, which is dried up, but conveniently there's a god just around the corner who gives us the power to restore it. Hurrah! We swim across the river of the heavens and enter the cave of Nagi, where we restore his statue and earn the rather lovely power slash ability. I also spend half a video trying to complete the prerequisite challenge of slashing a boulder in half because I fail at life. Returning to the tree, I slash the fruit down and the village is restored! Or is it? As this son quite rightly notes, although annoyingly sometime after we as the players realise, everyone in the village is statue-like and everything is eerily green. Upon reaching a guard tower, we unlock the ability to put the sun in the sky, which Ami had all along but somehow forgot. Restoring the sun returns the village to normal, and I wander around aimlessly a bit before discovering a big boulder blocking the only exit to the village. I'm informed that if I seek out Susanoo, Nagi's descendant, he will be able to move the boulder. Of course, once I find Susanoo in a nearby house, he's asleep, dreaming dirty dreams about the local sake bro. After dragging him to the boulder, he gives up without even trying and falls asleep in his garden. I then visit the object of his desires, the local sake bro, who unquestionably gives us a bottle of her most potent sake, known as Vista of the Gods, which I naturally associate with the operating system of the same name, and complain. She also asks if we're old enough to drink, despite Ami being well over 100 years old. After giving Susanoo the sake, we then lead him to believe he actually can slice blocks of wood and huge boulders in half using our own power slash ability. We can then use that ability to slice open the exit to the village, although I don't quite know why we didn't just slash that in the first place. I also spend quite a bit of time in the village digging up people's gardens for shits and giggles, but who doesn't do that? Before I leave the village, Sakuya appears again and tells me to restore all the guardian saplings, which are all supposedly linked to her magical tree. This gives us a major objective for most of the game so far. Upon leaving the village, I discover that the surrounding area is cursed and that entering the cursed area can, and most likely will, kill you. There is a guardian sapling, but we currently have no way to restore it. We have no other option but to venture into Hana Valley, a now barren wasteland, and find a cave with another guardian sapling in it, as well as a sleepy bear and a ball we have to roll into a hole so we can channel sunlight and make the guardian sapling grow. This provides us with the restoration ability, which I subsequently abuse and claim that all trees must obey me. Not entirely drunk with power, I restored the guardian sapling in Shinshu Fields and the curse is lifted. I then spend about 5 parts exploring the place, 2 of which consist of me trying to learn a new ability in the dojo and getting angry because I can't get it, and another 2 which consists of edited highlights due to recording problems. In these edited highlights I discover the moon cave where Orochi resides, but naturally we can't enter it yet, that'd be too easy. I also gain the cherry bomb ability from a man who I try and fail to give a solid snake voice. I also discover that the way to Agata Forest, our next destination, is blocked by a river I can't swim through without dying. Back to the village I go, where I discover the villagers still aren't entirely happy because the tree isn't quite as pretty as it should be. After watching a drunk old man dance, we restore the tree and everyone's happy. We also gain the lily pad ability, which allows us to cross bodies of water. I wonder where we can use that. Also round about this point, Sakuya flashes her breasts. We enter Agata Forest, which of course is also cursed. Luckily, the guardian sapling is right at the entrance behind a waterfall. However, after restoring this one, a man named Waka appears and attacks us with a lightsaber, then buggers off again. I also discover I can't do a French accent, which apparently he speaks with. We then beat up a small boy, to make him fish for a key to the local ruins, which is our next destination. I spend most of the next few parts basically exploring, but somehow in my exploration I restore the water supply, defeat a bunch of Venusaurs and earn the vine ability, which allows me to travel between blooming flowers. I follow a trail of said blooming flowers to a large room where I have to fight off the Spider Queen, who I insist on calling Tim Curry because of the movie It, and thus spoil the film for anyone who hasn't seen it or indeed read the book it's based on. After this, there's some moral message about not being afraid to take chances, but who cares about that when there's whitewater rafting? After stopping a log, using the newfound vine ability, we are granted access to Taka Pass, which, believe it or not, is cursed. We also have to fight Waka again, which is just plain irritating. After restoring the Guardian sapling, which is found to be on top of a cliff, we encounter a bunch of moles who've stolen a teacup and a crazy old woman who wants to eat us. We also hear of a troubled village nearby known as Kusa Village. We journey to this place and immediately have all our powers taken away and then dumped into a very hard fight, which is made harder by the fact that we have no powers. I managed to beat it and meet up with Princess Fuse, whose name I initially mispronounced as Fuse before remembering how the Japanese pronounce things. She tells us to go and find the canine warriors, who apparently can help us all. We meet the first of the canine warriors, and much to Issun's surprise, but to no one else's, it's a dog. I also give it and its friends a very silly voice that makes them all sound like East End market traders and all characters in a Guy Ritchie movie. We have to feed them all except the fifth, who insists on fighting us instead. We beat him, and Princess Fuse berates him for being a bastard. And then, just when we think we're done, she tells us to go back through the whole area of the game to find 3 more of them. Thanks, Princess, thanks a lot. Luckily, the first of them is located in the nearby Sasa Sanctuary according to the marks the princess left on our map. Of course, we can't just walk in there and meet him. Oh no, we discover that the sparrows who live in the place are refusing entry to anyone unless the boss's daughter returns home. A quick word with a random guy outside the sanctuary reveals that his daughter has walked past and may be in danger from a strange couple. Strange couple. Weren't we nearly eaten by someone before? We return to that house where the strange old woman tried to eat us, break a hole in their roof and wait till nightfall since I arrived at sunrise, and annoyingly we can't do anything here until it's night time. Fantastic. The sun sets, and we drag the old couple into the moonlight shining through the hole we created, which reveals their true forms, which we defeat and save Chun, the sparrow leader's daughter, who Issun claims is annoying, even though she really isn't. With her, we can finally gain access to the Sasa Sanctuary. Here we discover the hot springs have dried up and the bathhouse attendant has suicidal tendencies, and to prevent him from killing himself, we get Mr. Bamboo's help to dig into the ground, which is conveniently made up of cubes, and drain the water out of the rocks again. We gain a new ability which we use to open a gate and travel, at long last, to the next Canaan warrior who again demands to fight us. We defeat him and head off back in the general direction of Igata Forest, where the next Canaan warrior can be found. However, the location marked on the map is empty, and the only lead we have so far is that Kakari's dog Ume may have been eaten by Whopper, the Deep Abyss's resident giant fish, and we most likely have to save him. And that's where we are now. If you want to see what happens next, start following my Okami LP. Now!